What is going on, everybody? My name is Logan. I'm the CEO here at Contractor Kings, and I just want to walk you guys through some of the hiring tools that we pulled straight from roofing companies doing 10 to $100 million plus in annual revenue. These are real world documents which are proven, which I'm going to share my screen and go over for you guys. If you're just here to grab the resources, they will be in the description below, but I would highly recommend going through the video first because I'll walk through everything on the documents and what's pertaining to them. Something that's very important that I also want to note is these are just some of the documents that these companies use. If you guys want me to make a part 2 going over an OTE calculator, which is on-track earnings calculator for sales reps, or interview questions, or interview frameworks, job postings, etc., just drop a comment below. And if enough people want it, I will make it. But without further ado, guys, let's get straight to the brass tacks. Let's dive straight in. So in front of me here is one of the many resources that we're going to go over today. So the first thing is what's called a scorecard. So this scorecard is specifically for sales reps. Essentially what this does is it kind of eliminates the emotional element of hiring and firing people. So if you ever have someone you're like, I don't know if I should fire them, whatever, you just kind of go back to the scorecard, right? So some things that are in the scorecard is like you follow the core values, which are this. Therefore, you're not following the values, you're not going to be on the team. So this just makes the management process of managing a team very simple. So this is for sales reps specifically. You can tailor it for canvassers or whoever else is on your team. But if you're going to be doing it for like PMs, project managers, or other people on your team, like office staff, it's going to be a little bit different, but you can kind of use the same framework. So let's kind of go over this. So first and foremost, this is the mission for the sales rep. So the mission of a sales rep is to, number one, identify new roofing project opportunities through door-to-door referrals, inbound leads, whatever channels that you're going to be using. This is it, but I'm assuming it's going to be the same for everyone. So educating homeowners on the roofing industry. A lot of our partners, through their sales process, they're educating the homeowner. So if it's insurance, it's like, all right, so first we're going to file the claim, we're going to get the adjuster here, etc. And then if it's retail, it's very simple. All right, so here's how big your house is, here's how many squares your roof is, here's the type. You know, if you do good, better, best, whatever that is, you're just kind of walking them through the process and then conducting professional consultations, including free inspections and estimates, and then closing deals by guiding homeowners for whichever product they need. So this is very simple. You can tailor this if need be. You would just want to put your logo up top here. I know you can also change this if you call them like technicians, but I think that's mainly for HVAC. But whatever you call your reps, just put that up here. Now, here's the logistical thing. So here are the outcomes and KPIs that the sales reps need to meet. So number one, they must maintain a 30% close rate. So this is custom from company to company. On average, most people, they go for 30%, but as you scale, it's going to go down maybe to the mid 20s, like 25 to 28%. So whatever your KPI is for where you guys want to be in terms of close rate, put this here. So if you're the owner, you're not going to want to have the reps have the same close rate as you because nobody's going to be able to close as good as you. I'd maybe lower it by like 30%. So if you close at 40%, 50% as the owner, just lower that by 30%. So you'd be at like, 35% or something. I'm not the best math guy. And then also close a minimum of 8 signed contracts per month. So to come up with this, you just want to kind of find out what you guys are projecting and you can hedge it. So if a rep is going to run 100 appointments a month, 70% show rate, 30% close rate, what does that come down to? All right. And this is essentially the things that they need to do to hit these KPIs. So running free inspections and estimates, following up with previous appointments, farming people from local groups. Like some people are in Facebook groups. So it can get kind of hectic there sometimes. There's like 100 people commenting, but like if there's a group, if you're in Columbus, Ohio, there might be like Columbus, Ohio homeowners. People will post and they're looking for a roof. Rebooking no-shows and reschedules. This is so important. And then following up with past inbound leads. So if someone fills out the ad yesterday, you don't just call them twice today. Call them twice yesterday, you continue to call them each and every day. So second thing is pipeline hygiene and follow-up. If you guys are using a CRM, you should have each rep have their own pipeline with different stages in it. So what I like to do and what most of our partners do is they have 3 lists. They have hot, warm, and then long-term. So a hot list is somebody who's closing within the next 2 weeks. That would be someone who's like, all right, good estimate. For some reason, you can't close them on the spot. They're like, I want to talk to 2 other guys. You're like, all right, when's that going to be? Next Wednesday. So then you would put them in the calendar for like next Thursday, and then they would be in the hot list. Then you have warm, which is people who are closing within the next 2 to 4 weeks, whether that be logistical, maybe they're traveling, they're out of town, whatever. And then you have long-term, people who are like, all right, I'm not really interested now, call me in 3 months, call me in 6 months, whatever. You'd be so surprised how many people, if they're not ready now, they will be ready later. Most roofers do not even call them back. So making sure that you guys have a pipeline and making sure that the reps are utilizing that pipeline, so many more deals are going to come through. And then submit estimates and contracts promptly after appointments. So again, if you guys have a CRM, whatever sort of things that they need to upload in terms of notes, just have them upload that. This is tailored again. So submit estimates and contracts promptly after appointments, and then move prospects through the correct stages of the pipeline. So whether that be hot, warm, or long term. So let's say someone has a hot follow-up. They're like, all right, I'm going to close next week. Something last minute happens. Maybe a family member, passes away or something unfortunate, and they need to push out another 2 months. Then you would move them to long term. All right. So you guys also have daily execution of team and administrative tasks. So in addition to driving new revenue, you will have a minimal amount of team and administrative tasks. So if you guys are running a sales team, you need to have morning meetings, whether that be Zoom or at the office. So in the morning meetings, and if you guys do want me to make a video going over like how to conduct morning meetings, how these big companies go over morning meetings, again, drop a comment below. I will make something like that if enough people ask for it, but just morning meetings. So something in the morning meeting is knowing your numbers at the beginning of the morning. So it's like, how many deals do you want to close this month? How many do you want to close this week? Are you on track, etc. Be proactive in asking questions and getting help in what you're experiencing on the calls or appointments, any reason why you're not hitting your numbers. So for example, if somebody is running appointments, they get 10 appointments and they keep running into the same objection, why is that happening? You guys need to be going over this. They need to be asking questions, because the worst place to be is to be losing and not know why. The second worst place to be is to be winning and not know why. So if they're losing and they're not closing deals, you need to kind of know that they're being proactive and they're asking questions, because if they're not showing any drive, that's also going to be an indicator that they maybe have to let go. Now, another thing is just making sure that they're going to be able to prepare to take inbound calls and call new leads from the marketing. So if you guys have a marketing system and the leads are being sent through email, Slack, iMessage, whatever, you need to have them ready to answer the phone or call these leads. And then again, end of day reports. So if you guys have a KPI tracking sheet, making sure they're updating personal projections and numbers, update the team the team tracking sheet if you guys have a team tracking sheet, and then update deal pipeline and CRM, making sure all appointments are in the right stage. So if you guys have a no-show stage, reschedule stage, whatever, make sure that they're dragged there. And then all of today's appointments have notes. So like appointment with Mrs. Johnson was great. It was a one-legger, whatever. And then follow tasks are created for today's appointments. So if they had 3 estimates today, they closed 1, 2 are follow-ups, make sure that the follow-ups are scheduled. Confirm tomorrow's appointments, be like, hey, we still good for tomorrow, and then prepare for tomorrow's morning meeting. So this is the logistics stuff. You guys can add stuff as you like. Now, these are going to be also tailored for your business, but I think these are pretty standard across most roofing companies. So these are competencies that they need to have. So people skills. You're going to be talking with people all day. Being a natural rapport builder is going to hedge your bets of success. This doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert, okay? But yeah, like you need these people need to be able to have people skills, and yeah, they also need to have integrity, okay? There's a lot of, shady contractors out there, as you guys know. Make sure that what these reps are promising, what these homeowners are looking for, the reps can promise. So don't try to sell a homeowner on something if they don't need it, right? So don't take advantage of people. Be honest, have integrity. Leadership, right? You always have to lead the prospect to make the best decision for them. Even if the decision is out of their comfort zone, take stand for what's best on the people. Hunger and work ethic, proactivity, and attention to detail. And then poise, right? So you'll be having to have crucial conversations on a daily basis. A lot of the times these can be life-changing conversations for homeowners. You must be calm under pressure and hold firm to help prospect make the best decision for them. All right? So as long as it's best for the prospect, these guys need to stay calm. So time and availability, full-time 40 to 50 hours a week, right? If your hours are different, again, change this. And then must be available evenings and Saturdays as needed. So a lot of times homeowners don't get home till work till about 5. So if you guys want your reps running appointments after 5, you just have the criteria here. Again, this is custom. And then they must be able to respond quickly to inbound leads under 5 minutes, flexible schedule, core hours. Again, these are your business hours. And then if you're central, you put central, and then must attend all meetings and training sessions, remote CRM access, etc. Now, this is compensation. So OTE basically stands for on-track earnings. So let's say I'll just kind of pull up a calculator here for you guys. So this is very simple. I can make an in-depth guide if you guys want, but this is the way you track OTE. So we go back, let's say the minimum KPI for closing deals is 10 deals a month. So 10 deals a month. Let's say your average roof is $12,000. Let's say your commission percentage is 10%. So we do times 0.10 or 0.1, 12,000 a month times 12 for the year. OTE is 144,000. Right? So this is in a perfect world. We also have something which I'm going to get into later, which is a tiered percentage structure. And as you scale, the percentages will go down. But for a roofing sales rep, $144,000 a year, 6 figures is pretty standard as long as they have lead flow and they're able to close deals. So you need to come up with your OTE for your company, how much each people are going to be paid. You can base that upon what people are getting paid right now, but just make it based off of numbers. Don't guess. These are very simple numbers to find. On average, how many deals have you closed through the past year? How much is your average deal? What is your percentage? Divide that by 12 for the month, and then multiply it by 12 for the year. Very simple. And then, commissions based on signed contracts, bonuses for hitting monthly targets. If you're giving out bonuses, like top closer of the month gets $1,000. And then there's also mobility to become a sales manager. If you guys eventually have a sales manager, they're going to be making more than a sales rep. So you just kind of want to also toss them this bone saying like, hey, if you work hard, you do have the opportunity for growth. So if someone's a canvasser at the bottom, you'd be like, hey, you have the opportunity to become a closer where you're provided leads and you get X amount more per deal. Instead of 3%, you get 10%. So that's it for the scorecard. So next thing, I kind of touched on this, but it's the actual job offer template. Okay, this is super simple. I'm not even going to need to go over this month. You just put your logo here, and it's like, hey, I'm pleased to inform you that I've been successful in your application for roofing sales representative, or if you call them technician, you put that there. And then you basically load this into DocuSign or PandaDoc, and you put these fields in here. Or if you're, old school, you print this out and you have them write it down, and then they sign this here. So if you guys, if it's a canvasser, I decided to leave this here because people usually give them a base, but most closers are just going to be strict commission. So take this out if it's not there. But if someone is having a base, it's 30-day trial period, then you get your base after. And then payday 15th and 30th, or if you're just 30th, whatever, you change this, and then you put your company name here, your name, and then your CEO, or if you're the hiring manager, etc. Now, something I also want to note here is a lot of these bigger companies, they have tiered pricing or tiered commissions percentage because people want to be able to continuously have a goal ahead of them. So what I mean by that is like, hey, if you close 0 to 8 deals, you get 10%. If you close 9 to 15, you get 11%. If you close 16 to 24, you get 12.5%. If you do 25 plus in a month, you get 13.5%. Now, guys, this is of the gross. A lot of companies I know do of the net as well. So if you're doing gross, it's 10%. If you're doing net, 30 to 50% of the actual gross sale. So tailor this for what you need. And I would highly recommend doing tiered. You can change these numbers however you like. I know some companies that pay 7% to their reps. I know some companies that pay, 15% to their reps. So just tailor this to what you guys think is going to be best. And yeah, the rep or whatever position they were accepting, they would just sign here. Now, finally, guys, this is something that is super important, which is an employee confidentiality, non-solicitation, a non-compete agreement. I've heard so many stories of people starting a company, they build it up, and they hire a canvasser or they hire a sales rep or a sales manager, and the person will literally take all of their clients, okay, and all of their team members, and they poach like everybody, and the company does a whole 180. So what this agreement essentially does is, you can read through it yourself as well once you get it, but it allows that the employee cannot take your clients. They cannot start a new company within 2 years after working for you in the same area. And then they also can't steal your team members and poach it. So what this is doing is it's basically protecting yourself when you bring these people on. And it's also allowing you to pursue legal action in the case if this does happen. I know times where people have signed agreements like this and they've broken the contracts and they were sued for a very large sum of money. So in the case if it does happen, you do have something to fall back on in terms of legal action, if that makes sense. So I highlighted the things that you're going to need to change for your state. It's not much. If you want to add stuff or tailor it, you can speak with a lawyer and they'll be able to add things yourself. So this is the employee, and then this would be your company here, and you would sign that. Alrighty guys, so that's it for today. If you want these 3 templates, the roofing sales rep scorecard, the job offer templates, and the non-compete, just check the link below. These are view only, and I highlighted the fields in yellow, so you're not going to be able to edit these directly. You're going to have to go, I'll show you guys here real quick. You're going to have to go to File, make a copy, and then make a copy yourself for each of these templates and change it from template to your name. Also, if you guys do want me to make more templates like interview questions, how to actually track on-track earnings, and I'll provide you guys a quick tool that you can use to find it as well. Leave a comment below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you guys build something legendary. Go crush it. Have a good one.